Clerk.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, December 8th, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, so we'll start with open forum. Is anyone here for open forum? All right, two hands go up. Come on up to the table. Just let us know who you are, your address. Yeah, of course. Sure, yeah, absolutely.
No, we have to keep a 50-foot radius.
Yeah, right.
We're not that formal.
It's an open forum, but still.
Yep.
All right. Name and address?
Yeah, just for the record. Yeah.
Okay, George Doucette.
Yep.
Natalia Doucette, 85 Haywood Road, East Bridgewater.
All right, thank you, George.
So, I'm here tonight because I got a cease and desist letter from the town's attorney, Attorney Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
There's an ongoing neighborhood dispute in the Haywood Road neighborhood, the backside of the Robbins Pond. It started with Mr. Mitchell at 95 Haywood Road. He was in here at the September meeting at Open Forum looking to buy the lot of town-owned land behind his property as he's dug a pond, built a dam, buried tires, built an addition without a permit at the property. He's in front of Zoning Board of Appeals right now pending enforcement. He's dealing with the Conservation Commission with pending enforcement. DEP is involved in this whole thing now, and he's at war with the entire neighborhood. As a result of that, every time he takes heat from an office here, he sends emails and letters and points fingers at meetings about look what they're doing, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. I want to make certain I get the facts right here, so I'm referring back. Mm-hmm. October 8th, his girlfriend sent an email to everybody here. Everybody here got it. Every office here got it, making allegations that I had buildings over the town line and lights and just all sorts of nonsense. At that point, I talked to Alex at the Conservation Commission and said, I'll get a survey done, not a problem. And I contacted PMP. They were very hesitant about doing it. Apparently the neighborhood's a nightmare. It was 25-foot lots that were given away, according to Nancy Morris, as prizes at the Brockton Fair 60 years ago. No one wants to survey it. I talked to Garvey and Whitman. He flat out refused. He took a look at it and said, I can't do it. He goes, I can't guarantee anything. I went to Webby Engineering because they'd done the survey for 95 Haywood Road in the preceding months, and they were willing to take it on. At that point, when that letter came out, I went to your office and actually spoke to you and said, when I get the plot plan back, I'll deliver it to the office. The plot plan wasn't ready to be picked up until November 17th on a Monday. Grabbed it, didn't get a chance to swing by here with it, but I got a letter the next day dated November 18th from Attorney Kenny with a cease and desist. You must remove everything within 30 days, et cetera, et cetera. Attorney Kenny said that was at the direction of the town administrator. The attorney also said that the town administrator talked to Alex at the Conservation, who stated that the shed may or may not be over the property line. He's getting a plot plan done, this and that. So I got a cease and desist with no zoning hearings, no conservation, no due process, no anything, just you have 30 days to move sheds. My dilemma with this and my problem with this is based on what a nightmare the surveying in this neighborhood has been, and I've heard this again from PMP, Garvey, and Webby, that it's such a nightmare to do that. If you look at the pictures there, picture one is the plot plan that actually shows, according to the survey that I just had done, the corners of those two buildings that may or may not be over what the property line is. And the next two pictures will help you with that statement. You're dealing with 6 inches of a corner on one of them and 6 inches of a corner on another one. As far as the property line goes, photograph number 2 is the beam poles for the lot line that Webby put in. One of them is when they shot my backyard, the other is when they shot the backyard at 95, and those are at least a foot apart. One of those, the one for 95, puts the property line a foot further back, which keeps my buildings in. And picture 3 in your hand is the only document on file in this building regarding the site survey at 85 Haywood Road, and that's from the Board of Health. That's the plot plan from 2021 when they did the septic. that was in this building and could have been referenced as to where my shed is and the subsequent bird coop, and that shows that shed being 10 or 15 feet within the property line. So the problem with this is, nobody really knows where that lot line is, and we're dealing with
Right.
6, 8, 12 inches here. I will graciously concede if the town wants to hire a civil engineer and have the town's property, which is that other side of the lot line, surveyed and come up with an actual lot line, I'll take that as the word of God, and if something needs to be moved, I'll move it. But a cease and desist with 30 days to move 2 sheds with the only document on file in this building showing that I'm well within bounds is unfair, unreasonable, and was frankly uncalled for. Because I've done nothing but voluntarily comply. When Mr. Mitchell made allegations that we were into wetlands or a buffer zone, I invited Alex out, he came out. Alex, it's on the Conservation Commission notes. I said, Alex can decide where the buffer is, and whatever Alex says is the law of the land, and I did. I moved everything. We moved a fence, I put up wetland markers, but the wetland seed that Alex wanted me to buy, which was ungodly expensive, but it was the right thing to do. And I've only ever wanted to do the right thing, and I'll do the right thing, but I want to know where that line is. And as those 2 beam poles show, that 1 foot makes a difference and keeps stuff in. And the septic plan accepted by the Board of Health and the Conservation Commission shows that shed being in bounds in my property.
This is town land.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe so, yeah. Charlie?
Yeah, I had talked to Patrick Franey, obviously, a number of weeks ago. He had gone out and taken a look at the property. It was his opinion that, in fact, the sheds partially fell on the town side.
All right, based on just
His observations.
Okay. But any plans of any kind? I mean, what?
No, because we didn't have any plans that I was aware of at the time.
Okay, all right. So cease and exist to do what, like not to go in the shed?
No, to this, you can't go onto the town's property with your own buildings and such. So the buildings would have to be removed,
Okay.
you know, off the town property.
Right.
It's a matter of encroachment, in essence, onto the town's property.
Okay.
If they're not on the town's property, then there's no reason to move them.
Right. Okay, so this is a first.
I mean, what do I know about anything like this?
I mean, help me out here. Like, do we go
Well,
back to the
I
planning
mean-
board? We go to the Board of Health? There's only a couple
Well,
of plans
well,
here.
neither, because none of them are going to make a determination as to where the property line is. If you
Okay.
wanted to go out and have the survey done, so we have an, you know, from our perspective, where the property line is, because it's obviously, at some point, we have property there, one way or the other, and
Right.
we could go ahead and do that.
Well, I don't know if we have any other recourse. I mean, if we send, a resident a notice to not do something without pertinent proof of them doing something incorrect. I mean, Carol, I mean, wouldn't you, I don't know how we do that.
Well, again, you know, this was on the basis of a town official telling me that that was.
I understand that, but there's, some documentation here that shows, a little bit
And
different.
as I said, if the buildings are not in fact on town property, there's no reason to move them.
Right.
I mean, it kind of seems like if they are, it's just this little tiny bit. Like,
In which case, if the town, through the select board, wanted to provide an easement for that, you could do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm amenable to, I want everything above board.
Yeah, right.
That's all I want.
what am I looking at in this photo?
So those that is the lot line between 85 and 95. And those
Okay.
2 markers are what are the back. So if you were looking at this being 95 and this being 85, those are that back lot line. But the one for 95 pushes it out a foot and a half, and the one for 85 is a foot to foot and a half closer to Hayward Road itself.
Okay.
So the back lot line doesn't look as it should with them being in a straight line.
Okay.
And they should be, because
Okay.
when you look at the GIS survey and everything other, that's a straight line. The lot line is a straight line, and the same engineering company, they admitted they had a different crew come out and do it, but it's supposed to be a straight line. It's,
Right.
Okay.
where is that line? And again, we're dealing with, if I have to chop corners off of buildings, I will, but I don't want to go out there and play Bob the Builder
Right.
without knowing where the
I mean,
line
if it
is.
was like the whole shed or something, I could see.
Right, yeah, I mean, I think there's a compromise
It's a
here.
gray
at
enough
some
area
point.
that it
I'd like
doesn't-
to, I would like to talk to Patrick, of course, the building inspector, just to see where, where his thought process is, but, I don't know, I mean, I don't think this is something that would take a long time for us to gather that information. We do meet again, on the 22nd, I believe, so if you wouldn't mind us just diving in this a little bit with a conversation with our building inspector, and then, if it's to Carol's point, if there's something that we can work out collectively between the town and yourself, then, maybe we can do that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm amenable to anything. I just
Yep.
don't want to, nobody really knows who that line is.
Right.
Right.
That's the problem.
That makes sense, yeah. And again, like I said, I think we
You
can.
talk to Patrick?
Yeah, I can personally talk to Patrick and then
You
deal
can
with-
keep those
Okay.
are yours.
Yep.
All
We'll
right.
work something out, and we'll get something back to you for, we should be able to do that by the 22nd meeting.
You want us to come for the 22nd, or?
Yeah, we'll contact you.
Rebecca,
Okay.
Yep, for sure. And
Let
then,
us
That way it can be an action item on the.
Yeah, we'll put it on
If we
the-
can get it done by then we'll.
Put it on
and
the
if
agenda.
For some reason, if it's gonna take longer, then we'll let you know that too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, thank you.
Wait to
All right,
get down
thanks
there.
for.
Happy
thank you.
holidays.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Okay, so we do have one appointment tonight.
Is there anybody else we're looking for?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I shouldn't shut it down until, anybody else?
Okay.
Seeing none, I will close open forum, thank you, Carol. 6 o'clock appointment, library director, veterans, and the veterans, oh yeah, that's a joint, that's right. I had to get my mind back on what we were doing.
Yep. All righty.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
See you
you.
both.
Yep, I'm happy to be here. So I wanted to talk to you, or we wanted to talk to you about potentially moving our passport services from veteran services to the public library.
Yep.
This is something that Chris brought to me a few months ago. And it's pretty common for passports to be done there are a lot of public libraries do process passports. They're able to offer more extended hours during the day, in the evenings, weekends. Chris has a limited amount of time that he's able to spend on them, and of course, he really wants to be spending his time on veteran services. So when I was looking at it, just with the staffing that we have, what I would hope that we would be able to do is to have one of our part-time circulation assistants become a full-time outreach librarian. And I know that it's difficult to ask for additional funding for the library right now. But there are a couple of reasons why I think that this would be something that would be beneficial to the town generally. Again, we would be able to offer the service more readily, more veteran service focus. The circulation assistant that I have in mind, she's a wonderful librarian. She's very dedicated to her work. She's great with patrons. She's great with everybody. She sees a future for herself in library service. She is working on certification, so I'm concerned that if we can't give her full-time hours, we may lose her to another library. And I know we've had that happen in the past, where we've had part-timers who are happy to be in a library setting, but can't only work part-time. And another thought, too, is that in about two to 3 years, we have 2 librarians who've been at the library for a very long time, over 20 years, are going to be retiring. One of them is our technical services librarian, and technical services is a very important part of library service and how we're able to manage all the resources that we have. So it takes a long time to learn it. And the circulation assistant that I'm thinking of, she's already working to learn that. And so what we could do is, if she were full-time, she could spend more time learning that. And so then when our technical services librarian does retire, we could have a real seamless transition there. So it would be very good for the library for more long-term than just immediately. Another consideration is, in order to maintain our state aid and our certification, we do need to have our budget increase slightly each year. And the increase in the salary would make it so that we don't have to go on waivers next year. If we're not funded to a certain level, then we would potentially have to go on waivers and risk our certification. So in what I submitted to you, I have some numbers there, and between the processing of the passports and the processing of the passport photos. Of course, I can't say specifically how many people will come and do passports
Right.
at the library.
Yep.
I do know that Chris has a lot of demand. I also know that in West Bridgewater, where they do passports, they're booked 3 to 4 weeks out. So there is demand in the community. And what the numbers I've been able to see show is that if we had someone full-time processing passports at about 15 hours a week, she would bring in enough to cover her full-time salary. So the town would only have to pay for her benefits, which is less than her part-time salary. So it will be an increase in our budget, but we will be bringing in revenue for the town that will go into the general fund that will more than offset her salary.
Okay.
And then the infographic that I have, just to point out that in economically difficult times, library service and library usage increases. There's an increase in circulation, there's an increase in foot traffic and visitors, which means more reference questions and more time by the librarians, they're helping people, sending faxes for fuel aid, they're helping people apply for jobs, they're doing all sorts of additional work. And we do all of this with just 1% of the town budget. So we just wanted to present that, and we hope that you'll support that.
Yep. So I'll start off by saying you're preaching to the choir to the left of me. Sure. So that's a good start.
Yep, I'm happy about that.
Yep. Carol?
Well, you and I have talked about this,
Sure.
but, to go on the record now officially, I definitely support this. My concern is, and I do passports at my library, so I'm very well familiar with how this all works. My concern is that there's no way to predict how much you will bring in revenue. It's an unknown quantity. We can make predictions, but we can't guarantee it.
Sure.
And at a time where the town is in a very difficult financial situation, I worry about that and about making a commitment that then we're not really able to fund. That's my concern. But in terms of services, in terms of what's better or best for the library, the town, this being able to offer this at the library is definitely better. And that's no shade to you, Chris. I mean, you've
Definitely. I'm
done a
fully
great
supportive,
job,
Carol.
but it's just, it's more accessible for people. And I know from my own dealings with it, especially families with kids, like it's just a great environment. And I also see it as a service where we're bringing people into the library that maybe wouldn't come to the library otherwise. And then, I've been a professional librarian for almost 40 years, and I have said my whole career that if I can get them in the door, I
Yep.
can get them to come back.
Exactly.
So this is a way to get people in the door that might not otherwise come. But when it comes to the financial stuff, that's where I have my concerns, as you know.
No,
as
of
you know.
of course.
And don't you get tired of pulling out that recession thing? Like, I keep thinking
do,
I'm never going to
I
have
do,
to look
I
at this
do,
again, and yet here we are.
Yep, here we are, yeah. Well, I guess the financial piece though too, and like I mentioned, and in order to maintain our certification, there are a variety of things that we have to do, and one of them is that financial benchmark, and that never goes down. So I can say that for next year, our municipal appropriation requirement is almost $680,000. And no matter what our appropriation is, whatever, the funding is, fiscal '28, it'll be 688. Like, it continues to go up because there's a formula and they use the larger of two numbers. So, if we go on waivers, and, going on waivers puts us at risk of losing our certification, which we really don't want to do. That's
No, we
just a
can't let that
really
happen.
very, that's like worst case scenario.
Charlie, what,
Simply a financial question. I mean, I don't see a policy problem at all.
Yeah, no, right.
Simply that, right now, we get about $14,000 a year
Yep.
in fees from passports and the photos. So, but the thing is, it goes in the general fund right now. In essence, we're spending that money on everything already.
Yep.
So the coverage at the library for those additional hours has to cover that $14,000, has to cover the cost of, the payroll for those additional hours, and would have to cover the health insurance. If we can break even on it, that's great. If we're not, we are not in a position to subsidize at this point.
right.
Well, I guess too, what I would say is, my estimate for the income would be anywhere from $62,000 to $85,000 a year. The costs for salary and benefits would be about $72,000. So we're either paying out about $7,000 or we're making $13,000 additional. So completely covering the pay and salary, or salary and benefits, plus gaining an additional $13,000. If we do nothing, we're paying out 26,000, because that's what her salary next year will be.
Right.
So even if we're paying out some, we're very likely to be paying out less than we're already committed to paying now. So it won't go, it'll go in the general fund, which is fine, and so then there'll be an additional to the library, but the balance to the town will actually be a net lower cost to the town.
And in your scenario, it would only be this one employee that would be processing passports. Nobody else on the staff would be,
So she would be processing passports and I would be the backup. If I were to
and facility
change-
manager, right? You'd be the facility
Yes,
manager.
yep. If I were to give the role to anyone else on staff, then we would have to renegotiate their job descriptions
Right,
with the union.
okay.
So the one thing I will say is I think whatever decision we make, it's, there's no going back, I don't think, right? Like you can't bring that service over there, then all of a sudden decide, we're going somewhere else with it. I wouldn't imagine.
I mean, you could, it's just,
Right.
it's just certification through the Department of State.
Okay.
You could, then, it's not like they don't come up, they do inspections, but it's like once every 3 years, 4 years.
We've averaged one
Like,
every
it's
3
not,
years.
it's not like Katie, like, running an election, and if she changes
yeah,
the
right.
location,
Okay.
like, they have to, come out, like, do all the stuff,
All
like.
right, I wasn't sure how that worked when you're dealing with it.
It would be, I guess, it would be more like, we don't want to make somebody full-time and then take that away from them.
Yeah.
No, no,
That's part of it as well. And,
And I think FinCom needs to play a role in this decision.
yeah,
which-
that's, I was gonna say
For
that
sure.
too. That's
Yep,
my
for
next-
sure.
Yep,
Yep.
took the words right out of my mouth. So have we had any conversation with FinCom on this
No,
yet? No,
it's
not
all
at all?
been-
Not, no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good move. But Chris, before I do that, why don't you tell us a little bit about like taking this service out of your office? How's that benefiting not just you, but the veterans, but the town in general, I guess.
So one, like right now, and I may have spoke on this prior to, but right now from 2 to 6 is really on Monday afternoons is when we get all our passport traffic. And then being veteran services, the rest of the week, this would open it up to where Karen could have a lot more hours, a lot more accessibility. Since we put this together and met with Charlie a few weeks ago, we've lost approximately about 10 appointments just because nobody can, the people that are not able to schedule with us, can't come in between 2 and 6
Yep.
on Monday. And then this would also help my office because then I could do, outreach events on Monday evening instead of processing passports. I could actually meet with veterans over at the library. I've got talks with the Y about doing events over there. And, just different things that I can continue to grow the office with the extra time.
All right. So you would say for sure that you could see an increase in passports being done by moving the service and increasing, obviously, the.
Yeah,
there's a
I
need
wouldn't
for
be able to put a number on it, but I could definitely see.
There's a need.
See an increase, because there is a need there. We've done roughly a passport a day for the last 4 to 5 years.
it. All right.
That's what we average a year, like about 360 a year, and I could definitely see that going up,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I think that's, I support it. I
Yeah.
really do. But then again,
But it's the it's that.
yeah, there's
There's that
definitely a
sticky
piece
wicket.
there. Yeah,
Yep.
I
So,
think
I
that
think
a
we
conversation
need FinCom
with FinCom would certainly benefit, and maybe even bringing in Melanie as well to kind of look at that from that angle, from the accounting angle as well. It's probably smart. Is that something you think we could put together, Charlie? When do they meet again? Do we need to get on their agenda, or can we?
With FinCom, they won't be meeting until January, but they'll start doing the budget reviews. But they can, you all could come in earlier than, the deadline for the budget's coming in is, I think, the 5th of January, but,
Well, I think this could be
But-
part of the budget review, don't
yeah.
you think?
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be a separate process.
No,
For,
not at all.
for the purpose of anyway. Like, do you have, you're thinking like July 1?
Sure.
Yes,
Yep,
the next
absolutely.
step I
Okay,
would.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking too. So we
Yeah.
got time. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of
Yeah.
talking to them.
I
But
think making it part of the budget
Yeah.
process, but
yeah.
would make the most sense.
No, I definitely
Less meetings for
support
you.
it, as Carol does as well. Let's just see what the numbers look like and what we've
Okay.
got going on, and if we can kind of make that jive. I mean, it's kind of really a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Just get it over there, for sure.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate the
Thank you.
support. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Happy holidays. Happy
you.
Christmas reading. Right, the week after Christmas is the best week of the year. Stay home and read books.
Okay, so Catherine is not with us this
I
evening.
see that.
So lucky you.
Yeah,
There's not too many.
lucky
There's only
me.
about 5 more. Go through the action items.
Yes, sir. I make a motion to appoint the following individuals to serve on municipal boards and commissions. Lisa D'Angelo as an associate member to the East Bridgewater Council on Aging for the period of November 4th, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. Paul Damon to the Conservation Commission for the period of December 8th, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. Stacy Chen and Eugene Caruso to the East Bridgewater Arts Council effective December 8th, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. Do I add this
Then
one
we,
at this
yeah,
point?
yeah, please.
And Shelley Bonamy to the East Bridgewater Arts Council effective December 8th, 2025 to June 30th, 2028.
All right, motion made. I'll second that. Discussion. Welcome everybody aboard.
I believe there
Is
is.
anybody here?
I think, oh, a
Yeah,
couple people
All
here.
right, want to come up and say hello, or you want to sit back there and just wave?
Come on
Do
down.
anything you want. All right, why don't you go first and tell us who you are, where you're from?
Hi, I'm Stacy Chen. Moved to East Bridgewater back in 2022.
Okay,
Excited to be a part of the Arts Council.
Great.
perfect. Any background in the arts for this position, or?
I have an 8-year career in marketing, so
Oh, okay.
dealing with budgets, applying them for engagement
Perfect.
and creative process.
That's great.
Very
Yep.
much used to it.
Well, I'm sure they'll use your resources quite a bit, and well, welcome aboard, and thank you very
Thank
much. Paul,
How are you, Peter?
how you doing, buddy?
Good. Paul Damon,
Yep,
born in Elmwood, raised in East Bridgewater.
absolutely.
20-year veteran, United States Army. I was in engineering company, so
Yep.
I know a lot of engineering.
Yep, perfect.
Wanna part of making East Bridgewater a little bit better.
Yeah, and I appreciate, Paul, your both of you. Thank you for your commitment, and we look forward to seeing you as you progress.
Yeah. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here tonight.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, motion been said, and we had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to hold a special and annual town meeting on Monday, May 11th, 2026, and to open the warrant. My God, didn't we just get through
Right,
town
we
meeting?
thought so too. Wait, motion made. I will second that. Discussion? Anything?
So their schedule is there as number 3, but
Okay.
we'll open the warrant, we'll publicize that, the warrant will get closed per the schedule.
Yep. Katie, anything from you? You all set over there? Good? Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to review and vote to accept the timeline for the special and annual town meeting as printed.
All right, I'll second.
It's there.
Nothing more, right?
The
All right,
normal-
dates as printed?
Yeah, the warrants will close on
Warrant opens tomorrow.
January 5th,
June 5th, yep.
so 4 weeks from now.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to discuss and vote on a designer selection procedures.
Second?
Right, so the Public Safety Building Committee has been meeting, but they would like to take the next step and hire a contract with an architect or designer to do a feasibility study.
Mm-hmm.
To do that, we have to have designer selection procedures in place.
Okay.
When we did the Central Elementary School, we were following MSBA rules, so that we were already set with that. But when we're doing our own projects without MSBA, the state requires this as part of the procurement, that we have designer selection procedures. And these are taken from the state, in the sense of, I didn't make there's a generic set, I took them, done, we're set.
All right.
I've been in contact with AJ, so he knows that we're doing this, and it's a necessary step so that they can in fact advertise.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to discuss a decision concerning the status of the roof, windows, and doors project at the Gordon W. Mitchell School.
All right, second?
So in this case, more than a year ago, we had hired through the MSBA program, the Accelerated Repair Program, we had gotten a architect designer and an owner's project manager for this to do the feasibility study and schematic review for that. They would come up with budget estimates and such, and we'd be able to proceed if we wanted to. The challenge for the town is that some of the roof doesn't meet the requirements in that it's not old enough to be replaced per MSBA.
Okay.
So having talked with Gina Williams, the superintendent of schools, and Brian Keeley, the facilities manager, we recommend that the town pass on this round of funding and wait. It'll probably be something on the order of 3 or 4 years until the rest of the roof is old enough to be replaced under the MSBA. We'd get basically, it's a roughly 50-50 split in terms of the costs. So we want to take advantage of that, but we want to take advantage of that for the entire building. In talking with Brian, he feels that he and the staff will be able to maintain the building, those elements of the building, during this time without any serious problems.
Okay.
But since the board was one of the signatories for the first initial steps with the MSBA, I wanted to bring the board up to speed as to where things stood. Gina will be doing the same thing with the school committee this week, and we'll be able to tell the MSBA, we really do appreciate the opportunity to participate in the program. We're looking forward to doing that in the future, but for this round of funding, we're going to pass.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. We don't need a vote?
I think a vote
Okay, I
would.
make a motion that we pass on the Gordon W. Mitchell School roof windows and doors project at this time.
Okay, motion's made, second. Any further discussion?
Makes
Hearing
sense.
none, all set, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's it for action items, Mr. Chair.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Announcements. Lee?
Your next and last meeting of 2025 will be Monday, December 22nd.
All right. Thank you.
And that's all.
Becca?
I don't have any updates.
Okay. All right, let's just jump into, Charlie, your report.
So, per the board's request, I sent out a letter to Plymouth County Retirement Board. I'm asking if they would be able to do the calculations necessary to determine funding schedules for years other than the current funding schedule, which brings us up to 2031 right now. Once 2031 passes, the Retirement Board, at least at current analysis, would be fully funded. And our assessment, along with everybody else's assessment, will go down dramatically. Problem for us and some of the other towns is that while we're doing that, we may suffer some service cuts in order to make the payments that are going to be required by Plymouth County. And we'd like to take a look at the possibility of extending the payment schedule so that the payments would be a little bit less over those years. We pay more and for more years, but we might be able to keep our programs at the same service level that we would like right now. I heard back from Tom O'Brien. They don't do this on a constant basis in that he said it would cost, they'd have to pay the actuary who does this work something on the order of between $5,000 and $7,500 to do it on a particular year. It would cover all the unit members, so housing authorities, water departments, fire departments, or fire districts, along with the cities and towns that are in the district, in the retirement board coverage. If we were going to do that, if we were going to say, fine, here's a check, pick a year, I wouldn't do it for every year, obviously. I'd actually go all the way to 2040. And the reason for that is you would know what the extreme case is. If we went to 2040, here's what the payment plan would like. You know what it is for 2031, you would then could say, okay, here's where we think we would like to be based on what the payment plan would be for 2031 and what it would be for 2040. If you pick 2035, for instance, and it wasn't satisfactory, you might say, okay, now we got to do another one later on. I had also, per the board's request, had sent it to my colleagues in the other communities. Also, if there was a select board email address or whatever, to send it to them also. Some towns have email addresses for their boards, some don't, but I did send it out. There's maybe half a dozen communities that replied indicating that they're thinking along the same lines as we are, in the sense of their situation, their fiscal situation is very similar. But the vast majority, it's been radio silence. One town indicated that they would in fact prefer keeping it at the 2031 because they feel the town's credit rating would be better with the shorter length of time to pay off the retirement than extending it. So that's where things stand right now.
Okay.
I think Tom will send a formal letter back to the board, at some point. But I had a phone conversation with him about it.
Okay. So I have a few questions. So first one would be, so the cost over extending that over the period of time comes from what? Like what would be we pay interest or penalty for?
Well, yeah, so it's sort of, 20-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage. Same thing we dealt with the Central Elementary School, in that if we do a 30-year loan for the Central Elementary School, same principle, but we're paying over 30 years. The cost for the average taxpayer was going to be $840.
Yeah.
and that sounds better than 890 for 25 years. Except that you're now paying that 840 for 5 additional years. So the net is you're paying $3,000 more
Yeah, so
over that course.
I understand how that works. What I'm asking you is, so the money that we owe them a bill, right, to catch up
Yes.
to what it is. Are they accruing interest every time that we pay? Because to me, I mean, maybe I'm the only one who doesn't understand this, but if we owe them $25 million, aren't we just chopping that $25 million up over the course of the 5 years? Or are we chopping that plus
Well, in essence,
something
yes,
on top
but
of that?
but the longer we take to do that,
Right?
as you talked about, the interest amount.
Okay, so there is interest that we
In
pay
essence, yes.
to Plymouth County for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the longer, because the liability stays there unless we've paid it off.
Right.
And so, until we've paid that, there is, in essence, there's a charge, considered as interest, yes, something on that order.
Do we know how much that is?
Right.
up
Well, that's the
front?
whole thing, is that, no, we got a number.
That's what we don't-
We got a number. I mean, the actuarial report says how much, what our liability, net liability is for the town of East Bridgewater.
Okay.
And then here's what the funding schedule would look like, likely to pay that off. And it's not, so I'm gonna take your 25. It won't be 5 million for 5 years.
Right.
Because it's gonna be slowly going up during those 5 years, at about, 7, I think it was 7.5% we're estimating. Because the thing is that they're making money on the money we send to them. They're investing that.
Well, that's
If
how
they
we pay the
don't-
retirees.
If they don't have that money to invest, then the liability gets bigger in the meantime, in the sense of, if they don't have the ability to invest that money and make money on their own, they have to come back to the cities and towns and get that money.
What were they doing the previous 30 years when they weren't getting the money that was done? There was no, that's.
Well, they were investing money, but basically, we kept kicking that can down the road. I mean, when we started in Halifax in '96, I think was
We've been talking
probably
about
the
this for 20 years.
Right.
can was,
Anyways.
yeah, the can was probably 2020 or something on that order,
Yeah.
when I started in Halifax. And, we're not even the most, we're not waiting the longest, obviously. There are some retirement systems that are fully funded at this point. Most aren't. Some of them are aiming for 2040 already. Most of them aren't. They're somewhere between where we want to be, or where Plymouth County wants to be at 2031 and the 2040 date.
Okay. And, I mean, look, I keep saying this, I mean, it's gonna be 2% across the board, not just this year, but in the
Well,
next
I think-
couple of years. I mean, I don't know
Well,
where we're
in
gonna
ter-
think all of a sudden
in
money's
terms
gonna
of-
fall out of the sky, you know?
Well, when Melanie was here, when we talked, went over the numbers, at this point, the worst year would be '27. She feels that after the 2% drop, we should be able to make ends meet, but that's literally keeping the budgets where they are at that point.
Not
Very,
restoring
very
anything.
small increases, and we're talking less than 1% per year, given, again, retirement, health insurance, special education.
Right. But of all those three things, and we talked about this,
Yeah.
of those three things, this is the only one I can even put my head around, that
Right.
there's an opportunity to do something with. We can't do anything with the other two. So, I mean, the next thing would be, so when you told me the 7,500 or whatever the story is, that's collectively what they'd have to do for every town? So they would do this for every town, no
Not,
matter?
so they would do, for $7,500, they would do it for all the communities total. So not 7,500 times
Okay.
45 or 50
Right.
communities, but 7,500 to do it once for everybody.
Okay. And that has to be passed to the town, not
Well,
to?
they're basically saying, if you want, they're satisfied with the work they've done. They're saying, we don't see a need to do that estimate.
Oh, yeah, they're not sitting in this room, live in East Bridgewater.
Well, I
They're not on the fire, the police at the schools, I mean,
Right.
obviously.
So, I mean, that's what I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
I know what
being
you're
told.
saying, I'm not trying to shoot the messenger, what I'm
Yeah.
just trying to figure out.
What you missed.
I mean, I want to see the number, I really do. I think
Yeah.
I think it's important to the people that are in the room here, three department heads, to see
Yeah.
the number as well. I just keep seeing us, cut corners and hearing from people that, may not be here
Mm-hmm.
over the course of time, and services that won't be here at the same time. And, I see a number that they've put like this instead of, what the state has said.
Well,
like
and they've,
this.
they've already actually kicked the can a couple of years just last year. We had a funding schedule that said that they were going to aim for fiscal '29. Then the market tanked in '22. The actuarial tables changed because people are living longer. Also, the folks who are earning the most are staying longer and getting larger pensions.
Right.
Doesn't matter which community you're in. And that cumulative meant that they were not going to be able to pull off getting the fiscal '29 with, as bad as we're in right now with 2031, it was going to be far worse if they kept it at 29. So they made the decision, we're going to move that can 2 years to 29. I'm sorry, from 29 to 31. So, if they, for their own purposes, they're willing to make a decision to change the date. But right now, they don't see a reason to do that. They've done it, they did it once last year for 2 years. They don't currently see a reason to do that again right now. For their own purposes, I know, it obviously affects everybody here in East Bridgewater along with all the other communities.
Yeah. No, they're going, they're going to Hanover next week, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that meeting for sure, which, I plan on attending as well, just to hear what the talk, because they're in the same boat. Hanover,
Yeah,
you
it's
talk
one
to
of the-
Situate, they're, in, they
Well,
looking at it the same way we are looking at it.
Well, Hanover is certainly one of the communities that communicated with me to say, yes, we're in the same boat. What,
Right.
What should we try and be doing?
Right, to see what we can do. I don't know, it just boggles me that, so $7,500, so what are they gonna do, charge just one town, or how?
Basically, are we interested enough in getting that information that we're willing to spend $7,500? We're spending. what,
For every
five-
other town, though, for us.
It'd be us and every
anyone-
other town.
Every other.
Because they won't do it for one town.
But would those other communities that are in the same position as us be willing to share
They
that
might be.
See that
bill? If
cost,
there's
yeah.
6 of them, then it's
Right.
only,
Right,
1,100
Yeah,
apiece
right.
instead of.
yeah, I would say there's probably at least 3 or 4 that I know would participate, just to see, because I just still think that number's gonna be, it'd have to be a lot smaller than what we're looking at for that 5 years. I know Dave said 100,000 or something, but there's no way that it gets reduced by that.
It
small
won't,
amount.
it won't be as much as we would like it to be, the decrease, let me put it that way.
Right. So what are you estimating?
I'm not, no.
I'm not going on the record with
Well,
this one.
No, well,
We talking it's gonna be less than 100,000 or more than 100,000 or
it'd be more than
half a million?
100,000, but it wouldn't be 500,000.
Really?
Less than what we're currently
Yeah.
slated to
It's
pay.
like we're saying. Yeah.
Well, the current, basically, the schedule looks like this, and it would be like that. So you're still going up every single year.
Right,
Right.
but not as dramatically.
Right. So if someone said, I'm making the numbers up, it's 5 million this year, it's gonna be 4.5 million next year. No,
Yep.
it will be, instead of going from 5 million to 5.4 million, it might be 5 to 5.2 million, for instance, or 5.1 million. It still will go up.
Well,
And there's no help from the state.
No, because everybody else is not necessarily, but some places are still in far worse shape than we are in terms of what percentage of their retirement is in fact been funded. We're, I believe, in the 60s right now someplace. There are retirement systems that are lower than us in terms of what and they're going to have a harder time even going to 2040 and meeting it.
right.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think, I'm not thinking of anything right now. All right, we got some questions, that's perfect. Go ahead, Gina.
So can I just ask, does the state supersede Plymouth County? Or
No.
does Plymouth County supersedes the state?
In the sense of, the state has said through its statutes, all retirement systems must be fully funded by 2040. Each retirement system picks its own date as to be when they're going to be fully funded, as long as it's no later than 2040. So retirement plan A says we're right now at 2033. Plymouth says we're at 2031. Somebody else says we're at 2037.
So if you get Plymouth County to do that cost
Yes.
calculation, does that mean they're going to let you go to 2040
No.
or? So you could possibly pay for this to find out what the cost would be up to 2040,
Right.
and they might still say
Yep.
it needs to be paid by
Right, because it's a
2031.
5-member board. It's the county treasurer. It's a representative of the treasurers of the member units. I know there's a retiree on there. There's a member who's elected by the active members, people who are contributing to the system right now. Can't remember offhand who's the 5th person. But it's not a vote of the individual member units. It's a vote of that 5-person retirement board. Not the cities and towns, not the state.
And has the question been asked if, as a town, we decided to pay it off by 2040? What would the penalty be if we didn't?
Well, the penalty be, I mean, we don't have a choice in the matter right now in the sense of we're obligated, because we're a member of Plymouth County, to pay in full by 2031 right now. If we decided not to, this is me guessing, is that we will find ourselves in court fairly quickly and paying lawyers to deal with a situation that we're going to lose.
So you had said earlier that there are some towns that they're thinking they're not even going to make the 2040.
Well, what I'm saying, there are retirement systems that I think are going to have a struggle to reach 2040, because if we're at 65% fully funded, there are other retirement systems that are a lower percentage than we are, which means they will have to pump relatively or comparatively more money into their system every year based on the number of retirees and number of active members and everything else than Plymouth County is. Now, those ones are probably going to try and go for 2040 rather than an earlier year because they're farther behind than we are. But it's still, in my mind, it's going to still be a challenge to get there, because Plymouth County has done an excellent job relative to other retirement systems about investing its money. It has a very high goal for a rate of return on its investment. I think it's 7.5%. Most retirement systems are actually lower. Maybe it might be 7.25 or 7 or even 6.5. But they've been able to meet their goals so far. The thing is, if you can't keep up where your goal is, you're going to fall farther behind, and you're going to now have to pump that additional money in because your rate of return wasn't as good as you had estimated. And so you either pump more money in or you kick the can down the road, but the problem is the can will stop at 2040. You can't kick it to 2041.
Right, and as you know, I mean, the concern, and I'll only speak for the school department, is it means cuts every single year.
Yeah.
Even if, I mean, this year it's a 2% reduction, which looks close to $1 million for the school district. But even on a good year, where you said maybe it's level funded, it's still cuts.
Yeah, well, right, in terms of service levels, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd be very interested in what we could possibly do to extend that out, just so that the reductions aren't as severe as they're sounding like right now.
I mean, it would seem like 9 extra years would
Yeah, like 200,000.
feel like it would be a
whatever.
significant reduction
Right.
in that assessment each year, but
Right.
Well,
those numbers are so big that I can't
Well,
even.
one of the things that Plymouth County will say about 2040 is fine, we do that. You now have no room for error. You cannot kick the can to 2041. If the market tanks in a certain year, that means that you now have to put more of your money rather than investment money into the system, which is what happened. Again, that's why
Which is what happened.
they did because of 22 being one of the factors, they moved that by 2 years to account for the fact that the market went down something like 20% that year.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that could happen in the next 3 years. It could happen any year, I would assume,
could happen
right? I
any
mean,
year.
yeah, it's
Right.
just, we're saying, what if?
I think one of the things they probably are looking at right now is that, they'll do another revaluation of the system starting next month.
Right.
And should have those results in May, and know what our assessments are projected to be for 28 and 29. I would expect that their market returns are excellent, above where their goal is. And that will be a reason for them to say, okay, we're staying at 2031. Now, maybe instead of 7.5% increase every year, it's 7 or it's 6.5 or whatever it is. But they're going to, if they want to preserve their options, is what they're looking at.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean.
Question as well, or?
Yeah, I just didn't know if it's a fair metric or comparison. When they extended from 2029 to 2031, what was the change in our assessment?
Well, it kept going up.
Was it a considerable amount? Like, I know, obviously, it sounds like 2022 was a
Yeah,
low year.
so basically, what happened was the path just added 2 more years, is what happened. So we're still getting something on the order of 7.5 or 8% increase every year in our assessment. It was 2 years of added on, though, to catch up for the fact that 22 was not a good year.
So it was no change, essentially.
Yeah, it didn't go down. The rate of increase didn't decrease. It pretty much stayed the same because of the loss.
So what did those 2 years do then?
Those 2 years are accounting for both the market returns in '22, where they lost money. So again, if you lose money, you got to put more money into the system to cover that loss that you had. And then also, as I mentioned, the changes in the actuarial tables, for instance. People are living longer, therefore more years of pension are being sent out. So there's basically, I'm 65 right now. 40 years ago, they might have estimated I'd live to 75, I'd have 10 years of pension if I retired today. Now they have to estimate that I might have 15 years of pension. And so those actuarial tables change, not to our benefit, because people are living longer and more pension money's going out.
Okay, well, I mean, clearly we see that everybody's here looking for the
Yeah,
same,
right.
the same goal. I think it's just a matter of trying to find any avenue we would have to.
So if the board would like, I can contact the towns that had at least shown some initial reaction similar to ours and say, and go back to Tom and say, give me a real number for what it's gonna cost, whatever it is, and I'll see who's willing to pony up.
Jump in, yeah. I think so. It'd be interesting to see what comes out of next Monday's meeting as well at Hanover. But yeah, I would definitely say at least, like, for the sake of our departments, and I know John, I've spoken to him, Haynes as well about it, if, anything we can do to help lighten the blow a bit. I mean, it's, well, again, back to my, talking to the choir over here, right? You know exactly what we're dealing with. But yeah, I would appreciate that, just see what, see what the interest is. I think we'll get a little bit more response when we give them some actual information on what they've told us. But, I would hope that if it is something that we can do, that they'll oblige that, and if it works out to where the numbers make sense, and, there's some opportunity to save some jobs, some services, things of that nature, and it works inside the budget, then hopefully they'll, work with us. But to your point, I thought it was the county commissioners that are elected, so they have
No, separate things. The county, it's like, we have the housing authority.
Yep.
Separate institution. They're not on our books or anything. The county's the county, the retirement board's a retirement board.
Right. Okay. That's the information there. Okay, thank you. You got something else?
I guess the budget, which sort of will
Yeah.
walk into
Do we
this.
really need to talk about that?
Yeah, so Melanie and I talked with you all a couple weeks ago, along with Dave. So just to go over what, if the board wants to change this, it's up to them, but that we're going to request a 2% decrease in actual dollars from fiscal '26 to fiscal '27. We want the personnel line items backed up by detailed spreadsheets showing the base salary, then any incentives, stipends, et cetera, because Melanie and I need to go through with the finance committee exactly what we're paying out to who, not in terms of we don't like that person or anything, but make sure all the numbers add up to what the number of the department is asking, because if we're going to make cuts, we want to know why we're making cuts or where we're making cuts, on what basis. We also need the calculations for overtime and any other personnel expenditures laid out in detail. The operating budgets have to include all the retirements that are coming up, so any accrued sick leave, vacation leave, et cetera, need to be plugged into those budgets. So the department heads will need to go and check to see, are there any planned retirements at this point? We'll have separate articles for capital budgets, which are items with 5 years lifetime or more, $20,000 or more, but we'll also ask for articles that don't qualify for that. And departments need to check to see if there are things that they periodically, but on an annual basis, ask for. So for instance, once in a while, we dealt with the assessment centers at the town meeting for the police and fire a few weeks ago. Again, whether it's those departments or any other, if there are expenditures that don't happen every year, but are going to happen, make sure that they have those articles, because I really think we need to aim to have everything in for the May town meeting and not have departments expect that we'll have a town meeting in the fall or next winter that will suddenly have money and be able to spend more money on projects. So get ahead of all that. And then also all future contracts for fiscal '27 onward, they're going to have to be funded under raise and appropriate. We can't continue to take money out of free cash and stabilization to fund contracts. These are operating expenses. They need to be matched against operating revenues instead of our reserves.
What about capital?
As a capital, will fund either some combination of free cash and stabilization,
Okay.
which is what our normal procedure is.
So that, you don't see changes to that other than?
I think, in talking to Dave, he didn't think that we were going to get a lot of capital budget articles, but we'll find out when they actually come in. One of the things is
How
that,
many years out do they do that on capital? Do they have?
well,
like a
he would like to do a
5-year?
5-year plan, and I'm starting to work on that
Okay.
with Melanie and with Dave to start going with the departments, because we haven't had a 5-year plan since 2020, a real
Right,
concrete
and we
one.
should.
And it's time to bring that back up.
Things are this tight, we need to see like what has to be done.
And also, the challenge, of course, as with everything else, is that having our buildings and equipment fall in disrepair is more expensive than
Yep.
repairing them
Costs us
and
more in
keeping
the
them
end.
up. So if we need to spend money on maintaining those buildings, that we continue to do so, or replace the equipment on a regular basis.
Great.
So if the board is, I don't know if, from what I've said, is that agreeable to the board? I mean, not that that's
No,
what
it's
you
not.
want to
It's
do, right?
terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
I want you to
terrible.
come in here and say, everybody gets 5% increases.
Yeah, it's not,
But, since you're playing the role of Scrooge
Yes.
season,
yeah, I mean, the discussions
We'll call
obviously
Melanie,
have to
you know-
open up.
Wake up
those
on the
numbers.
25th and.
Melanie is
yell at
Marley and
them.
you're Scrooge, here we are.
Would say, I mean, definitely have to, get the message out there. We'll continue to look at what the possibilities are, but at this point, they need to be on the same page as we are, what we're looking at. And then we just,
And I don't expect any rescue from the state. They're obviously in not their best straits either. I mean, they're meeting their goals for this year, but I don't know, that's all they're doing.
all right. Any other news, Charlie? That-
No, I don't.
All right, thank you. Board discussions, Carol, something good?
I mean, I was gonna talk about what a great weekend it was to
Right.
be in East Bridgewater, but
Yeah.
it feels a little underwhelming at this point,
No,
but
not at all.
we had the tree lighting Thursday night. It was very
Cold.
cold and windy, but there was still, I think, about 250 people out to
Dale
see
moved
that.
it along. Let's go, let's go.
I know, well, it was funny, because Linda MP from the school, they had 6 songs prepared, and she said to me, how about we do 4? I was like, sounds good, it's cold. But, so thanks to Linda Massini-Padoff and Julia Ann Anderson at the middle school for bringing the kids out. And then Saturday, I love a parade.
Yeah, yep.
It's
The
a
parade
good day.
committee did a great job once again.
They did.
and Commend that group.
I don't know about those parade commentators, though.
Yeah, I would agree. No, it was a good day.
Was?
Didn't seem as cold as it had in the past.
No, it was nice. It was
Yeah,
nice.
it was nice.
Kiwanis did a great job with the craft fair, and
They did.
everybody that was there selling food, I guess, did really well.
Yep, yeah,
And
it was a
the
good turnout. It was,
Recitals and performances, and
Mhm.
all that.
yep, worked out great. Thank everybody that was
Time to start
involved.
planning the next year.
Okay.
Although Kiwanis is still selling Christmas trees.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll
Well, you got
plug
about
right there,
100
Zach.
left.
Hope to be sold out by the end of the next weekend. We've only got 80 left.
Oh, good.
So,
All right.
And you're going to be open other days than the weekend?
Tomorrow will be open 4 to 8.
Tomorrow being Tuesday,
Tuesday.
the 8th, from 4 to 8 here at Town Hall.
Yep.
All right,
And then the weekend until they're gone.
Yep.
Get those trees.
sounds good.
That's it, that's all I got.
Okay, that's good, yep. I will call the meeting. I guess we're going executive?
Yeah, go to the end of the packet.
Oh, yeah, I
page
gotta do
22.
that. No,
It's the last page is your little.
as my
your
page?
script.
Okay. This, they printed it too for me. I believe.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I forgot to do the,
Yes.
bye, thank you.
We're being taped.
Thanks again.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
I
were
didn't-
taped.
Yeah, we were taped, yeah. Sorry about that, I forgot it. Was it on the top of this? On the one. Just want to double check, make sure. It was on there, went right by it. Yeah. Another lawsuit. Okay. Let's see, I move that East Bridgewater Select Board go into executive session for the following reasons pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, police chief. Pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation in an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining and litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Firefighters, clerical, DPW, superior officers, police officers, and that the select board will not reconvene in open session at the end of executive session. Confirmed by me, Peter Spagone, Jr.
Second, Carol Julius.
All right. Discussion? Okay. So then I'll move into, I declare the open meeting on collective bargaining, negotiations, and litigation may have detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the select board. Confirmed by me, Peter Spagone, Jr. as chair. Roll call. Oh, any discussion?
No.
Talk about that at all? No? Roll call. I, Peter Spagone.
Aye, Carol Julius.
That's all I've got. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, good night, folks.